journey into the past of ancient Egypt. Okay, so today we're going to start talking about the geography of ancient Egypt and the history of it. Okay, so we're going to separate this chapter into different parts. Not going to take it all by one at once. Okay, ladies.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sorry, but
what do you know about Egypt?
I know that it was home to
Egypt
the
has
Romans.
and
One
it's
at a
also
time.
one of the hottest. It's really hot,
So
basically a
it's
desert.
really hot if we're talking about the weather.
And it's one of
There's
the
pyramids
countries with
there.
pyramids.
Pyramids, okay, so this is in historical information. We have the pyramids there. It's one of
The capital of Egypt is Cairo.
Cairo, okay. So what do you know about the history of Egypt? Do you know anything other than the pyramids?
I'm pretty sure there was a legend that people would sacrifice.
Yeah, I know, like I used to watch this stuff on TV. So let's see the information that we need to learn, okay? So
Okay.
ancient Egypt is located in the northeast of Africa, and it's still part of the today modern Egypt. Okay, so the same Egypt that used to be was known before, it's still same as today. Okay, we're talking borders wise. Okay, ladies.
Yes.
Okay, so the boundaries of ancient Egypt are the Mediterranean Sea in the north, which is here, and Aswan in the south. Aswan in the south. Okay. Now we're going to see some other boundaries later on. So the Nile Valley, however, is the most important geographic feature in the area since the Nile runs throughout the country, flowing from the south to the north. Okay. So this is the Nile rivers. It flows from the south of Egypt up to the north to the Mediterranean Sea. Okay. So this is one of the most important. First, this is the longest rivers in the river in the world, and this is one of the most river in Egypt and in the world. Okay.
Says,
Yes.
did you know that the source of the River Nile is actually in Uganda?
Is it in Uganda or Ethiopia?
No, it's in Uganda. It's called Lake Victoria.
I know Lake Victoria. You were in Uganda or
No, Uganda.
you were in Uganda, Samia? Inside it. Maybe
Yeah.
some other time.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so ancient Egypt was divided into two kingdoms, so the upper and lower Egypt. Okay, so we're talking about very long time ago. Hello, Marlon, how are you?
I'm good.
So this chapter is about the ancient Egypt. Okay, we're going to learn a little bit about the geographical history of Egypt. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the lower, which is the northern Egypt, included the Nile river and its delta. So Upper Egypt was the long, narrow strip of ancient Egypt located south of Delta in the Nile Valley on both sides of the Nile River. So let's see some images about the upper and lower. So upper, what was called Upper Kingdom. So this is it. Can you see the image? Oh, this small image. Okay, so this is the upper and this is the lower. Okay, so it's not about the north and south. It is about seeing the map exactly. I'm going to download this image and show you how we can see this image. How can we can interpret this image? Just a bit. Okay, now. Oh my God. Now, is it making more sense now? This is the upper Egypt and this is the lower Egypt. Okay, guys. Samia, Julia,
Yes,
Marlon.
yes, sorry, I was talking, but I didn't think you could hear me.
Okay, so now it makes more sense. Okay, so if we're talking about the upper and lower sides, we're not talking about north and east here. We're talking about if we flip the map like this, we can see the actual upper and lower Egypt, Kingdom of Egypt. Okay, so let's see some other. Okay, so let's continue. So also we had two types of soil in ancient Egypt, the black and red. Okay, they can still be found today. So the black soil was found in the fertile land on the banks of the Nile. Soil, it's a land, okay? So the ancient Egyptians used this land for growing their crops. This was the only land in ancient Egypt that could be found because of a layer of rich. A black silt was deposited there every year after the Nile flooded. So the black silt is small particles of sands of earth that carried moving water. So what you can tell from the black soil?
The black soil was found in the fertile land on the banks of the Nile.
Okay.
It was the only land in ancient Egypt that could be farmed because of the layer of the rich black silt that was deposited there every year after the Nile flooded.
Okay, so it is the only piece of land that could be found in Egypt. Okay. So let's see the red soil, however, was found in the barren desert that protected Egypt on two sides. So these deserts separated ancient Egypt from neighboring countries and protected it from invading armies. Okay, so they still have it up to today. We call it the biggest desert in the world. So it is part of Egypt. Did protect Egypt from any invading enemy. Okay. However, this soil is not for farming. Egyptian could not farm in it. It was only used to protect the Egyptian. So they also provided the ancient Egyptian with a source of precious metal and semi-precious stones. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, the Greek historian Herodotus described Egypt as a gift of the Nile. Okay, so they call it the gift of the Nile because most of the country is a hot, dry desert with a little rainfall. Therefore, people settled around the Nile over 10,000 years ago, and the Nile gave life to this desert. Okay? Nile in Egypt. So if you can see from this image, you see the Nile River is very close to the desert. Okay? Guys?
Yes.
Okay, so we
Yes,
know
yes.
that in the desert, it's very hard to find water or to live. However, having this river next to this land make life much easier, okay? This is why they call it the gift of Nile,
Yes.
okay?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit more about the history of ancient Egypt. So that the geographic now we know the geographic history, okay? So it is north and it was the upper and lower land. The upper was in this side and the lower was in this side, okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. And we have two types of soil, the black and the red soil, okay? So the history of ancient Egypt, pharaonic, we call it, civilization dates back to 3000 BC up until Alexander the Great conquered Egypt in 323 BC. Okay, so historians divided the pharaonic era into three successive divisions: Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, and Modern Kingdom. Okay, we're still talking about the
Yes.
pharaonic kingdom or pharaonic civilization. Do you know what's a pharaonic civilization?
I don't
Pharaoh, now do you know it?
know.
No. So let's see some images about pharaonic. Marlon, do you know the pharaonic civilization?
What?
Pharaonic civilization.
No.
Do you know what's a pharaonic? This is how it looks like. Can you see the
Pharaonic?
image? Yeah, it's only
Yeah.
popular in Egypt. They built their empire in Egypt. They have also some pyramids that look like them. Can you see this image?
Mm.
Can you
Oh,
see this?
that's a pharaonic?
Yeah, that's what we mean by pharaonic. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we said that this kingdom was divided into three divisions: the old, the middle, and the modern. Okay.
Mm.
So the pharaonic era is further divided into 31 dynasties as follows. So a dynasty is a succession of rules from the same family. So the ancient age dynasties, the first and the second dynasties that ruled until 2700 BC. So this was the most famous ruler in this area was Men's. So let's see what Men's is. So this is Men's. Okay.
Okay.
Can you see the image?
Mm.
So, who managed to unify Upper and Lower Egypt. He also established the city of Memphis near to the Delta 3200 years before BC. So the old kingdom dynasties only know the titles here, okay? If you want, I want you only to know the titles. This is general information for you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, the Old Kingdom dynasties, the third and the sixth dynasties that ruled from 2700 BC to 2200 BC. Okay. During the Old Kingdom, Egypt enjoyed stability, security, and peace. Okay, so there was no war here. So therefore, the economic, culture, and artistic achievement flourished during this era. This was clearly represented in the building of the three Giza pyramids. So Khufu, Khafra, and Menkura. Okay. Do you know that the pyramids are still mystery up until today?
Yeah.
People or scientists still don't know how they built the pyramids long time ago. So you see, we're talking about more than 6,000 years ago, they built the pyramids. And today we do have the most technology, the most important and the most advanced technology in the world. And still scientists didn't figure out how they built the pyramids. So what do you think? Do you think people back long time ago was smart or no? What do you think of the old Egyptian? They were smart or no?
I think they were smart,
They were smart in some cases.
They were smart.
but
Let's
their
say they
rules
were
are a
smart
little extreme.
in their own way. Okay.
Yes.
So they built this huge pyramid without any use of technology that we know.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So this is something that spectacular actually. Okay.
And they created their own language of math, like Roman numerals.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first Middle Kingdom dynasties, the 7th to the 14th dynasties. So this age has begun in 2200 BC and ended in 1700 BC. It started when Menthod P2, the prince of CB, managed to reunify the country and founded a strong government. Egypt flourished economically. Okay? So exactly, if we want to talk about Egypt as one country, we can talk about these dates. Okay, so 2200 BC and 1700 BC. This is when Egypt became a unified and one country. Okay, and since there was no war and it was a stable era, what happened? So we can see it here. When we have stability, security, and peace, what will happen to the country? When we have stability, security, and peace, what we can have as a result? Come on, guys. Julia, Samia, Marlon.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Yes, I was muted. I thought I was unmuted, so stuff.
Okay, so when we have stability, security, and peace, what we can have as a result from them? So we can have a good economic, better culture, and more achievement. Okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they are related to each other. This is why in Lebanon we have the most important reason for the economic crisis in Lebanon now, because we do have a lot of political issues and so much conflict between Lebanese. Okay, that's
Yeah.
why we are not having any economical stability, and the crisis is growing bigger and bigger. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see, the kings and the queens of the 20th dynasty acquired fame all over the world. So some famous kings or queens. So Tuhutmos I, he was a warrior who expanded the Egyptian border north and south and who spread education everywhere. So let's see who is Tuhutmos. Tuhutmos I. Did I even spell it right? Oh,
It's fine. There's always autocorrect.
No, not in horse, please. So this is, so we don't
You
have
got a
clear
horse?
images. We don't have clear images to it. So he looks like this. So he spread education all over the country. Okay? Then we have Akhenaton, who was the first to call for the one creator, and Tutankhamun, his son, who gained fame in modern time and who was also known as the Boy King. Okay? So from the term Boy King, we can know that he was young. Okay?
Yes.
So let's say Akhenaton. So these are weird names. So we don't also have clear images. We only have rocks that can tell us how they look. Okay. So the most famous queen, now let's talk about the queens of this time were Nefertiti. Okay, the wife of Akhenaton. Okay. So this is how she looks. So you see, all ancient Egyptian had this on their heads, which is, I don't know why they wear it, but it is part of their civilization. Okay. So Nefertiti was the wife of Akhenaton and Hatshepsut. So the second Middle Age dynasty is okay. So in 1725 BC, the Hyksos annexed Egypt and occupied the Egyptian land. So this is where Egyptians were taken from the what we call them the pharaoh. Yet the prince of Thebes, led by Ahmose, managed to expel them out of Egypt. Okay.
Yes.
So the Hyksos are the members of the ancient nomadic people who conquered and ruled Egypt between 1725 and 1560. So it was for more than 100 years, for more than 150 years.
Yes.
Okay, so the modern kingdom was... Okay, after Ahmose expelled the Hyksos, he worked on establishing a well-equipped army. So now Egypt were focusing on building an army. So Ramses II, one of the most famous king on the modern kingdom, signed the first peace treaty in the history with the Hittites. Okay?
Yes.
So Hittites are member of Asian people of Anatolia, whose empire flourished in the part of Western Asia during the second millennium BC. Okay. Just a second, I want to show you one thing. It can make more sense now what we said. Can you see the image?
Ancient
Yes.
Egyptian civilization lasted for over 3,000 years and became one of the most powerful and iconic civilizations in history. At its height,
Can you hear the
ancient
voice?
Egypt's empire stretched as far north as modern-day Syria and as far south as today's Sudan. But long before it was an empire, ancient Egypt was a series of small, independent city-states that bloomed along North Africa's Nile River. The city-states were divided into two regions and named according to the flow of the Nile. Upper Egypt in the south, which was upstream, and Lower Egypt in the north, which was
Okay, so this is what we said earlier. Okay, so this was the upper region and this was the lower region. Okay? Okay, guys?
downstream. By about 3100 BC, the two halves united, thereby creating one Egyptian state that lasted for millennia. The reign of this civilization can be divided into three major periods of prosperity.
So this is what you guys need to know. So the old, middle, and new. The new is the modern one. Okay?
called the Old, Middle, and New Kingdoms, and 2 periods of instability in between, called the First and Second Intermediate Periods. Guiding the Egyptian people was a succession of about 300 rulers, often referred to as pharaohs. Pharaoh, which means great house in Egyptian, was never the ruler's formal title. It only became synonymous with the ruling individual in modern times, thanks to its use in the Hebrew Bible. These rulers, who were not always men, nor Egyptian, were considered protectors of the people and served as divine liaisons between humanity and the hundreds of gods they worshipped. After the rulers passed away, ancient Egyptians believed they then became gods. To prepare their journey into the afterlife, the rulers constructed elaborate tombs, including the Great Pyramids at Giza and underground mausoleums in the Valley of the Kings. Rulers filled their tombs with all the items they could need in the afterlife, including gold, jewelry, food, drink, and even pets. Preparing for this journey to the gods also involved mummifying one's body. The deceased's corpse was embalmed, wrapped in hundreds of yards of linen, and placed inside the tomb so the body could be reanimated in the afterlife.
So this is one of the most important mystery in the pyramids. Do you know that the pyramids only have access, can gain access to the lights once in a year? Samia, Julia, Marlon.
Yes.
The pyramids get the lights of the sun only once in a year. Do you know this information?
Yeah, when the sun is directly aligned with the top of the pyramid. I think.
Yeah, exactly. There is some geographical information. So the pyramids of Giza were once covered white casting, soil, stone. So it gets the light only once during the year. So this is also needs a lot of like studies and education. So it was not simple to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, this shows that the builders of the pyramids were very, very smart. Okay.
To this day, structures like the Great Pyramids are a testament to the role of religion in ancient Egyptians' lives. But they also represent the innovative and cultural might of the Egyptian people. Innovations in mathematics and written language in particular propelled their civilization to success. Math, specifically measurement mathematics, helped Egyptians understand and harness their world with numbers like no other civilization had before. They developed a new form of measurement called the cubit. It was used to design massive structures such as the Great.
They introduced education to the world. So, for example, mathematics, okay, or cube or some measurements, okay.
Yes.
Pyramid
this
with
is a huge,
remarkable
not an easy.
geometrical precision. The Egyptians also measured time. By combining mathematics with astronomy, they established a 24-hour division to the day and created a solar calendar, which was the first dating system in history to feature 365 days in 1 year.
So you see, they invented, for example, the time. They not invented. They discovered the time and the number of days in the years, the solar system that we are still following up to today. Okay.
Lastly, Egyptians developed methods to measure and survey land around the Nile River. These civil engineering feats made way for the construction of dams, canals, and irrigation systems that helped farming and agriculture to flourish in the Nile Valley. In addition to mathematical concepts, the ancient Egyptians also created written languages to describe the world around them. The oldest and probably most well-known of these is hieroglyphic writing. This system was developed around 3150 BC during the Old Kingdom and has over 700 pictorial characters. It was used to inscribe monuments and pottery and predominantly served a decorative or ceremonial purpose. Soon after, another ancient form of writing, called hieratic, developed out of the hieroglyphic system. It was a form of cursive that was written in
Okay, so
ink.
what you can tell now from the ancient Egyptian?